This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich, founder of Abich Financial Services.
And I'm Heather Branch, here with Abe, asking for his insight on ways you can better prepare for your financial future. As you get closer to retirement, it's time to take a look at that nest egg, make sure that that nest egg is going to work for you. And Abe, what you call it's the second phase of our financial life. It's not just some sort of winding down on life for the next 10 years. People are kicking. They are going into retirement, jumping and having a good time and marathon running and working.
That's right. It should be the most exciting time of our lives. You're talking about, but you're potentially talking about, maybe 30 years, maybe more than 30 years in phase two.
Yep.
That second phase.
Yep. And speaking of phases, we are wrapping up this year and getting close to, you and I, before we came on the air today, we were talking about, can you believe we're already, it's like, what are your Thanksgiving plans? What are your Christmas? It seems to sneak up on us faster and faster every single year. And also daylight savings time. I feel like as much as we get excited about the holidays and fall weather, we think about daylight savings time and we go, the darkness that we know is going to ensue.
I know.
But the time to turn back our clocks does happen next weekend. And for many people, daylight savings time is also a reminder of other to-dos around the house. Things like changing your smoke detector batteries, also checking the filters in your HVAC system. Here in Northern Virginia, we see some tough winter weather most years. Maybe you got to winterize your car. Make sure you're prepared for any kind of winter weather that may come our way. But something else to keep in mind as far as end of year to-dos is the work that you're doing at Abich Financial Services and figuring out our financial end of year checklists. So first of all, want to remind you that there is still time for you to make moves with your financial plan before the year is over. We do have a few appointments still available between now and the end of the year. If you want to get some things tidied up, you can start that conversation. Visit us at theretirementkey.com. I did find one specific financial end of year to-do list that I wanted to go through with you, Abe. The points that this article made as far as what we can do between now and the end of the year. Let's go through this list so that you can share your ideas with us.
Right. There are a handful of them, but just to get right to the point here, there's about 6 of them. You want to review your annual goals, obviously. Some of the goals that you may have set out at the beginning of the year may not be applicable anymore towards the end of the year.
Right.
And your financial plans obviously need to adapt. You want to obviously max out any IRA contributions that you might be eligible for, including the catch-up, if you're 50 years old and older, which most people or a lot of our listeners aren't. You want to max out your HSAs. If you have an HSA, a health savings account available. It was a reminder for myself not too long ago. I had maxed out mine. Forgot to max out Shelly's, and I just got hers done.
Okay.
Got hers done. And so anyone that has an HSA available or accessible, the ability to max out those accounts is really nice and important.
And check your spouse. Like as you were just saying, you forgot about Shelly. So make sure that your spouse is in line too. Yeah. Yep.
Take care of your spouse and make sure they're doing the same thing.
Right.
Obviously contributing more to your TSP or 401k. So if you haven't yet maxed out those accounts and you're able to do so and have the cash flow to do so, you want to consider doing that as well. And then tax loss harvesting. Just have had a bunch of conversations here recently with, 2.5 months, 3 months left in the year here, talking with clients that have brokerage accounts where they might have some losses. There's not a lot of loss here lately with the markets being up.
Right.
But every now and then you're going to have some losses in there. And if we can offset the losses with some winners, maybe get out of some positions with a very small tax liability or maybe no tax liability and then maybe reinvest. Those are always opportunities we want to look for.
Okay.
Finally, giving to charity towards the end of the year. You still have time to plan for your giving goals without, hopefully affecting your other goals. So if you haven't tithed or given charitably to the organizations that you want to support, you still have time to do so. So that's a list of 6 things right there. And obviously many, many more that you can really take a close look at before the end of the year gets here. One more, I'll add in a bonus for the 7th, is a Roth conversion. You can't get this done by April of the following year. It has to be done in the same calendar year. So
good point. Okay.
With the window of time winding down here before the end of the year comes, if a Roth conversion is something you want to do, you have very little time left to get it done. So we just helped a couple in Herndon, Virginia. They've got about $3 million with this end of year checklist and just kind of getting all their ducks in a row. Some of these planning strategies we just discussed done by the end of the year. When they came to us, and this couple's in their early 70s, so it's never too late. I mean, we have people seeing us that are sometimes mid 70s, late 70s. sometimes even into early 80s. But, by that point, most people probably have a lot of things set. It doesn't mean the plan is going to be perfect heading into your 80s, but obviously a lot more work that can be done when we have more time to plan. 60s, 70s.
Okay.
Early 70s, 60-40 portfolio, accounts everywhere, help them with consolidation. RMDs, they're in the RMD phase pretty much.
Okay.
No tax plan. These are just some of the problems that they had. And they want to take advantage of any tax loss harvesting that was available to them, which we were able to reposition some funds that had losses, offset those losses with winners, get some dollars repositioned. We're able to help them with a $50,000 Roth conversion. Not a huge one, but it's something, right? Where we're constantly chipping away at the comprehensive plan. Put together a comprehensive consolidated retirement income plan to include that income and distribution strategy, help them with RMDs, tax loss harvesting, a $50,000 Roth conversion. And that was all done through our year-end complimentary review. And so they came to us with not too much time left here in the year, and we were able to help them. So if you're listening right now, you're 55 years old and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement. And you say, you know what, Abe, I could really use a year-end checkup here.
Sure.
There's some things that I wanted to do here in 2025. I haven't got them done yet. If you're 55 and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement. Pick up the phone. We want to offer you the same review, complimentary.
Something else I know you're reviewing all the time, 401ks and TSPs. I mean, that has to be probably the two biggest things that happen in the Abish Financial Services office is a 401k or TSP X-ray.
Yeah, that's where most people's money are,
Right. And even though we did see a market drop earlier this year, there was a study done by Fidelity that found there are still a record number of 401k millionaires. Congratulations to you, men and women of Northern Virginia. You didn't panic with your investments. And it's interesting because it's almost created another problem, as CNBC's Sharon Epperson is pointing out, about how so many of us were leaving our 401ks alone for too long, and it can lead to stuck money. This is Sharon Epperson.
95% of the overall 401k investors didn't make any changes at all to their portfolios. That might have been fine if they were in a target date fund and it was, fulfilling their goals. But if they weren't and they just had it there because that's the kind of what they've had for the last years and years and years, that's stuck money. That's money that you haven't properly invested.
I have to imagine a lot of people you meet with feel that way because we don't even realize what options we have within our 401k. So we just kind of just put money in there and let it do what it does. So how do we get our money unstuck then?
Well, lots of different ways. So from the article, just 4 ways here.
Yeah.
Number one, you've kept your contribution levels and allocation the same forever. So you chose this allocation maybe 15, 20 years ago. You kind of stuck with it. Maybe you chose to contribute 10% of your salary.
Yeah.
And you chose an 80-20 allocation, 80% stocks, 20% bonds. When you started your drop 20 years ago and you just left it there, and all of a sudden you got $1 million, $2 million in the TSP or 401k because you're investing like you were when you were 40, and that's not wrong or bad, but you want to revisit it, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get that unstuck? You want to revisit your risk tolerance and review rebalancing and diversification, because you might now be 60. And do you want to have 80%, 90% in stocks, 100% in stocks? It all depends, right, on your risk tolerance and goals and objectives and your age and where you are in life.
Yeah.
You've got financial accounts everywhere. We talk about this all the time, consolidation and streamlining. During our working years, we tend to accumulate financial accounts, savings accounts, investment accounts, checking accounts. Sometimes we also call that financial junk drawer. And before we know it, we've got money all over the place. How do you get unstuck here? Collect all your financial statements, map out where the monies are held, and ideally you do consolidate and streamline. And what we find is there's way more efficiency oftentimes when you do that. You can't let go of a stock that served you well. Well, that might be like a company like NVIDIA or Palantir or Amazon or Microsoft or Tesla, companies that have done really, really well.
Yeah.
Sure, those companies have done really, really well, but what you want to be careful of is having too much money in any one thing and too much money in any one company, especially. And so how do you get unstuck? You can work with an advisor to mitigate tax hits if there is a tax hit on long-held stocks. Is that company stock money better somewhere else? Should you start to consider diversifying? Should you start to consider reducing the position in that one stock? Well, for some, yes.
Okay.
Right. But at least you want to revisit it. Don't forget about your 401k. Capitalize in the article here estimates that there were 30 million forgotten 401k accounts representing almost $2 trillion in assets. How do you get unstuck here? Take an inventory of past jobs and enlist the help of an advisory firm to help you locate lost 401ks. We just helped a couple in Stafford, Virginia, a little under $3 million, 3 years until they retire, down to 36 months, 70-30 split between stocks and bonds. Wife had a TSP, husband had a 401k, both unmanaged, just kind of socking money away for 20 to 30 years, and they got up close to $3 million. But realizing with 36 months or less until retirement that they had no plan. Okay, they've got pensions, both of them, former military. They're going to have a FERS pension, some VA disability, 2 Social Security checks, some rental income, and $3 million on top of it. So it's a fantastic job by this couple to get close to retirement. And they're going to be just fine when they retire, but they're going to be especially fine when they put together a well thought out, comprehensive plan that addresses not only the money and all the resources they've accumulated and done so well with, but protecting the dollars from all the risks that we talk about week in and week out here on the Retirement Key. We consolidated those accounts. We brought them together, put together a plan, going to actively manage these dollars, control them as much as we can to protect them as much as possible here at the point of retirement. If you're listening right now, you're also 55 years old and older. You have also saved $500,000 or more for your retirement, and you're wondering, well, how do I pull all my resources together? How do I consolidate? How do I put together a plan? Is it the right time? We want to offer you the same portfolio X-ray analysis that we offered to this couple in Stafford, Virginia. Complimentary.
You can find us anytime at theretirementkey.com. A man wrote into an advice column on marketwatch.com, Abe. And so here's some of his stats. Here's his data. He's 62. He's married and started saving at age 23. Actually, no, scratch that. He's 65 and started saving at age 23. If you add up his emergency fund, his 401k, real estate holdings, and the sale of his business, it totals up to $4 million that this couple has for their retirement savings. And in his letter, he was asking about conversions and annuities and when he should claim Social Security. And Abe, he did not bring up tax strategy. He didn't seem to even know he should be asking about it. How often do you meet with a new client who's seemingly done everything right, but they're missing the important topic of tax planning?
All the time, Heather. You know, I guarantee you that guy will ask about taxes as soon as his income starts hitting his bank account.
Well, yeah.
Or before it starts hitting his bank account, he's going to be like, okay, I got my $4 million and I can generate, $150,000 a year from it. And remind me, how's that taxed again? I get the question all the time. And, it's natural, right? Because we want to focus on getting to an amount or having the right amount saved.
Yeah.
And then naturally for a lot of people, taxes come second. However, they should be at the top of the list for a lot of people, especially the people who have saved a lot and have a good net worth. It reminds me of a couple that we just helped in Alexandria, Virginia, and they've put away $7 million. They got $7 million bucks invested, not including real estate.
Wow.
$7 million like in the market, stocks and bonds. They're in their mid 70s. They're a 60-40. They're working with, or we're working with 2 other firms, and didn't feel like those firms were much more of a fit anymore, being phase 1 firms, not helping them with a comprehensive plan that includes taxes, the estate plan, and all the things we talk about. So fantastic and wonderful job of saving. But one of the biggest concerns was taxes. Now that they're in the distribution phase, they're doing, taking out RMDs, and they want to enjoy their life savings before they pass. Taxes were naturally at the top of the list, as well as that estate plan with no estate plan in place currently, or when they met with us.
Okay.
We put together a tax mapping report and plan to help them address taxes. That's Roth conversions, it's tax loss harvesting, help with the RMDs as required minimum distributions, a charitable giving strategy. That was all done through our tax mapping report and analysis, and that's how they got kind of educated and understood the differences between the current plan they have now with 2 different firms and the plan they were able to put together with us here at obviously one firm.
Yeah.
And there's so many more efficiencies that can happen when you get things consolidated and that comes under one roof. And just going back to the article, why we can't forget or shouldn't forget about tax planning, ordinary income coming in from all these accounts can push us into higher brackets. RMDs can balloon taxable income. Medicare income related adjustments can happen. Surcharges can increase premiums on Medicare.
Yeah.
And that's why tax strategy can't be an afterthought in your financial plan. It needs to be a focus. It needs to be proactively put together. And just important as all of the dollars you have saved is reducing taxes.
Yeah.
If you're 55 and older, you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement, you want a tax plan, give us a call. We'll put together a complimentary tax plan and tax mapping report for you, complimentary.
Let's start that conversation. You can find us anytime. Visit us at theretirementkey.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit theretirementkey.com. And join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Abish Financial Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and the content of this communication has not been approved or verified by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or by any state securities authority. The information contained in this material is intended to provide general information about Abish Financial Wealth Management and its services. It is not intended to offer investment advice. Investment advice will only be given after a client engages our services by executing the appropriate investment services agreement. Information regarding investment products and services are provided solely to read about our investment philosophy and our strategies.